and welcome to everybody's favorite podcast. We are, of course, well, not even we. I'm going to talk about myself first. I'm Ursinity. Proud is proud. We are both here, and we are everybody's favorite weekly rereading podcast of the lovely fanfiction My Immortal. We're going to be talking about our favorite character of all time, Ebony Darkness Dementia Raven Way. Probably the best written character of any series I've ever read about. How about you, Proud?
No, you're a big fan. I feel like the biggest aspects that I feel like the literature got down perfectly was it's one of the strongest prose, like examples of prose in as like a criticism of the preps. I find
makes sense.
The preps, they're dumb losers, and I feel like it's really through the lens of Ebony Darkness, Dementia Raven Way, that we really do see the downfalls of prep culture and how both Harry and Draco are going to give me and, well, through Ebony Darkness, who I do identify with being a fellow goth punk who hates the preps, they'll both give me the dick and not the preps the dick.
Yeah, I'm into it. I'm just a sucker for the very well written romance and the deep character development of the various characters. So, yeah. That note, I can't wait for the film adaptation. I know there was already a miniseries.
The kind of the Dota character inspired by Ebony Darkness, Raven Dementia Way, Raven Darkness, Monkey King, who is equally as powerful in the Dota universe as Ebony Darkness, Dementia Raven Way is in the My Immortal universe.
Yeah, it makes sense. So on that note, let's just to intensify our respect for Ebony Darkness, Dementia Raven Way, we're going to make the allegory and going off on a tangent and talk about Dota 3, aka Dota 7.0, aka Monkey King is just ruining everything forever.
Well, I mean, he's not really.
On that note, let's get into it. I guess before, so let's talk format-wise. We're going to do, instead of doing a combo this week, because the patch is fresh, and we're tired.
It's not as fresh as my kicks.
Okay. We're going to do 5 things we like about the patch, 5 things we don't like about the patch, and 1 thing that we're on the fence about. And then, just to kick it off, though, before we get into that, what's your patch impression so far? We've only, we're going this Wednesday, so the patch has been out for 3 days, or 4 days, and playable for 3 days. What is your 3-day reaction?
I was hoping to get this down before you finish talking, but it's that whose line is it anyway thing. It's like, welcome to Dota 3, where the CS doesn't matter and everyone gets farm. I don't know.
Yeah, I can imagine that's gonna be in your dislikes, but I also
no, it's not, honestly.
Oh, really?
I love this patch so far. I've been transitioning to less of full on CS just to make up for how fucking greedy you are and how no one else can ever accomplish anything. So I'm like, I do need to fight from minute 8 basically. So yeah, I've been used to really moving around a lot. And previously I've been like, man, my farm is really stagnating at 18 minutes because I keep fucking fighting. But now it's perfect.
Yeah, my tempo has been really off so far this patch, and obviously, we've only been playing for a few days, but I just don't expect people to have the items that they have at certain points, and right. It's it's we just played a game in a Magnus that was off lane that didn't have the best time. He had a fine time, he just farmed, but he had a Bloodthorn and a Blink and an Echo Saber and a Daedalus at or not a Daedalus, but he had it's something else too at 35 minutes.
Blink Bloodthorn at
yeah.
I mean, he had more than that, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's just that's not something that would have happened before, but now with all these extra camps and all these runes and the change in bounty gold for kills and stuff,
yeah,
it's just different. Things are just unexpected. I expect to either have more or less farm at given points in the game, and it's very puts me off kilter, as they say. I think my short version of just my enjoyment of the patch so far has been okay. I've been very tilted this whole patch, partially because I'm sick, and when you're sick, it's oh, everything is just worse. You're just on edge. So I've been playing worse, and I've just been tilting more often, which is not a good way to enjoy a patch.
Yeah.
But the patch really so far to me, I think I covered everything in my list actually, so I don't want to spoil things. But it's basically been me either getting wrecked by a Monkey King and being miserable, or having a fun game because he's not in it. But it's just different. It's very different, and that's not a bad thing. It's just something I need to adjust to. I'll say that. So let's just hop into it then. I feel like the list are, at least mine, is covers enough bases that I don't want to drag on beforehand. So how do you want to do this, Proud? We did not discuss this before. Do you want to alternate likes and dislikes, or just go all likes?
I think that's what we've always done.
Okay, alternate. All right, so I'll start with my number one like.
You've been talking a lot.
Okay, you can start. Feel free.
Give yourself a break, buddy. You need to pace yourself. We're both sick. I feel like, honestly, I mean, before you get into this, like one of the biggest things is that we've both been sick for this. So like, I've played a lot less than I would have liked to, honestly.
Same.
I've just been fucking sick as shit. I feel like I can play today, but yesterday I slept, I want to say like 15 hours or something like that. I was just in bed 24/7, and this today mostly too, like, it's like not been getting out of bed, and I feel a good bit better, but like, man, really wanted to play a lot, and I did not.
Yeah. I took off work today, and because I was like, I was way too sick today. Like, I was sick yesterday, but I was like, I'm gonna play a bunch of Dota and like experience the patch. But then like, in sickness and in like chugging Robitussin all day and just being like in that like general malaise, I was just not playing well. So it felt like so unproductive. Like, I played a game with Mista earlier in the day, and I played Tinker, and like I was just playing so bad. Like, I was
Tinker is not a hero to play when you are.
Well, because I was playing against Monkey King mid
and sick.
Yeah, and I was like, oh great, I want to try this matchup because I just want to see, like, is laser enough to surmount Monkey King? And it was kind of sorta, but you're definitely right. Like, Tinker was not the play. But that has kind of messed up my my excitement of the patch. Like, it's exciting, but like, I know I'm playing bad, and it's important to acknowledge when you're playing bad.
Yeah.
And so, like, I was playing some ranked games on my alternate account though, because then I could just ban Monkey King and not have to worry about my real MMR. And that was pleasant. But also, that account's much lower MMR, so like, I can play like garbage and still be doing fine. Anyway.
Yeah. All right. I'll go first. One of the main new things I like is I like the new Mask of Madness. I haven't been building it like a ton. It's not like, oh, every fucking hero I build fucking Mask of Madness is fucking great. But I like the kind of new builds. It's or just like any change up in itemization kind of opens up new ways to play heroes. Like my new Sven build, which I had a video that I was going to upload, and then in my uploading I realized that the space heater I had going on made the audio fucking horrible. So I'm gonna have to re-record that. But my current Sven build was I had it like written down. Anyway, the point is you get like Armlet and Mask of Madness together, and then from that into like Blink and BKB and then Bloodthorn. And it's just really fun. It's a way more interactive in an item, the way that you need to like have it on heroes who have like a good amount of armor, and then also heroes that only use spells and bursts. Like for Sven, I can like Warcry, ulti, blink in, stun, and then use Mask of Madness, and the silence doesn't affect me at all, and I have enough armor to deal with the minus armor like forever. So like that's been really cool. I've been seeing Lone Druids buy it. I've been seeing it just on like a lot of characters. And I'm a pretty big fan. Just I don't know. It's like way more dynamic of an item than it used to be, and I'm a big fan. It seems like it finally kind of found a place to be, and it also gives you 15 damage, which naturally synergizes with the attack speed it gives you. So it just seems like a well-rounded item. Maybe bordering on overpowered, but I mean we'll see as the patch finishes.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I have not played any heroes that would build it, but I've seen it in a few games, and it's nice. I like that it has found a new place compared to, like, before it was like, oh, it's either like an item on certain specific heroes, or it was just like, oh, I just want to farm faster, so I just build a mom and then I sell it for my 6 slots, and then it's like, all right, whatever. It made me farm fast. So I think it's interesting. I like most of the item reworks. None of them were on my list, so I feel as though I can say that without spoiling anything. But yeah, the HOD rework also is interesting to me, but honestly, I've not tested or played around with that. I've just seen it built in a few games.
Yeah, I built it on Lone Druid in a game I played today that I'll probably talk about later.
Okay. So my first like is that. Let's see, which one am I going to pick for my list? That's a real question. My first like is the change to the function of bottles, salves, and clarities, in that they don't get removed by, like, you know, ambient damage basically from things like creeps. That honestly, I think it's going to have bigger ramifications in the coming weeks and the coming months, when kind of like mangoes and fairy fires, where like it took some adjustment to that, like them as an item. But this as a mechanic is going to change the way that I think people lane, that people farm the jungle, that people do things. That's really interesting. But also as a mid laner, I think it's like a really great quality of life change, and it's also a TA buff, which is great. So TA actually, she has 3.3% more win rate as of today than she did at the beginning of the patch. So nice. I'm looking forward to that. But excuse me. Yeah, that's my first one. It's probably my least significant overall of any of my changes I picked, but it's just one of those, like, I just like quality of life changes. Honestly, like, I want things to work and not get like little, like, it's always one of those like little aggravating feelings where it's like, oh, okay, I want a clarity. I have one clarity left, and I accidentally pulled a range creep, and now my clarity's gone, and I'm useless for like 2 minutes or something because I need to regen mana. Like, that was just the worst. A big quality of life change, especially for supports too, because they can pull while having a clarity active, which is nice. So I'm all about it. Honestly, that's a big change in my book.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with just like keeping a clarity in my backpack on most characters that I play. Even if you don't end up using it, like on Lycan that we were playing, I probably used about 3 clarities that game. And they were like extremely helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
Just, like, farming with them every time I took them out of my backpack. Just didn't need to like wait or anything. It was great.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's like, it's very low investment, but it might come in handy.
Yeah.
All right. So maybe you can give a dislike.
All right. I kind of dislike how freeform everything it is. Everything it is. How freeform everything is. I'm sure that'll probably like abate by the time we figure out what's going on more. But sorry, I'm coughing. It's just, I don't, like, I kind of liked how, like, one really cool aspect of Dota was, I feel like it was kind of like a puzzle, and not in that, well, I guess it was like a jigsaw puzzle. Like, every single action was this bizarrely shaped puzzle piece, and, like, kind of the skill was you needed, like, to find out how to fucking fit them all together as, like, smoothly and beautifully as possible. As opposed to just, like, here's a fucking set of actions and just, like, jam them through a fucking hole together. Just like, oh, it's just fucking, I want to take this tower, and then I want to fucking Roche, and then I want to fucking high ground. It's like, no, you gotta do this, and then you gotta do a movement up there, and then catch a kill here, and then you can do that. And, like, it was very cool to, like, find the exact thing to do. But now it's just kind of like you walk around everywhere, and you find things, and then maybe a kill happens, and then you find another thing, and then, like, oh, maybe you high ground, and it was random shit. And that'll probably, like, you know, normalize, but for now, even our competitive games feel pretty pubby, in that people just walk around and do random shit. So I'm hoping as the days, go on, and, you know, fucking nights get longer and weeks pass, we kind of have a little bit more structure to the games.
Yeah, I feel that. I know, like, both of us are more strategic players compared to, like, the impulsive, like, let's just fight players. And I definitely feel that too. I'm not like, I don't know if I'm in the minority here. I had like a good Twitter conversation about this, but like, I like games where it's like not super high kills, because that means every kill matters more. And I like really weighty decisions and weighty, like, events in the game. And in the current meta, it's very like slapdash, like things just happen. Yeah. And since so many things are happening and so many rotations are being made and so many runes are being taken, it's like each one matters a little less in my mind. So that was another thing. I agree with you on that. That's for sure. Let's see. My dislike. Let's see. One of my dislikes, I guess, to tie into this, is just the games are shorter. It's really. This was actually a firm debate that we had, especially after the Tuesday show with Roland and Cyphus, where Roland was advocating for even shorter games. I love long games, and that's not to say I have not had long games in 7.0, but the games just feel faster and end up being like net a few minutes shorter. Like, games are now like, I don't know the total average game length, and I don't want to say anything because I'm sure I'll be wrong, but the average games feel like 10 to 15 minutes shorter than they would be in previous patches. And I really like late games. Like, my ideal game length for Dota is like 45 minutes plus. Any game that's like 30 to 40 minutes feels like I just like either got stomped or was doing the stomping, and like I don't. It doesn't feel like epic to me, because if I can go in and out of a game, I think this is a big problem with League, because I've played a good amount of League, is that so many games would end at 20 minutes with the surrender option, and that it's just like it's not each game did not feel super important, because it's like, oh, I just lost game, whatever, and then you jump into the next one, it's like, oh, I won, cool. Well, in Dota, it's like I just spent 60 minutes and I had this like epic thing, and whether win or lose, like if you lose, you get that like surge of emotion, like, oh my god, everything is awful, I can't believe X did Y, and yada yada yada. And conversely, if you win, you're like, oh my god, this is the best moment of my life. And that's kind of like I always get when I describe Dota to people, I'm like, oh, it gives me my highest highs and my lowest lows. So that like the whole like games are just being shorter, it makes the games feel a lot less impactful. And it does tie into what you were talking about. It's like games are like really like they're just high kill score, not a lot of farming. It's just like things just constantly happening, and it just doesn't feel so much like Dota to me. And like you said, I'm sure, or I hope, this will change in the next few weeks as things develop. And I think some of like the changes they made have the potential to make games go just as long, if not longer. But I really hope that develops and it does not settle into this like 35-minute game length thing where it's just like hop in, hop out, whatever. I may be in the minority there, because I've heard a lot of opinions both ways. I'll say that.
Yeah, I like longer games. Maybe not. I guess I like the length that games were, but I mean, some aspect of that may just be like, oh, I really did like Dota a lot. Or rather, I really do like Dota a lot. So obviously, I also like the length of the games. Also, I don't know. Some people like rolling now. If a game goes an extra 5 minutes, something may come up with his kid or something. You may have to stop or whatever. So that may be influencing, his idea. But it's not like he's the only person who has stuff like that. So I can see why people would like games to be a little bit shorter. But I'm pretty okay with how they are, right?
Yeah. One of the arguments that I hear often is that people are like, oh, well, I don't like that Dota games are so long because it means I have to budget out like an hour of my time to play Dota. Yeah. And even that might not be enough sometimes, because it's like, oh, 5-minute queue, and then like a 3 to 5 minute pick screen, and then you play a game. And a game can be 30 minutes, it can be 45 minutes, it can be an hour, it can be 80 minutes. Yeah. And I get that argument, but at the same time, like, maybe it's just me as a person, but very often, like, I don't have time to play Dota, and I'm not the type to like try to like burn one in, like try to get a game in when I really shouldn't.
Yeah.
So that's when I just go and do something else. Like, I have enough other stuff to do. Like, you're at a computer, you have the vast expanses of the internet and your Steam game library and all that. Like,
well, the worst thing for me is if I have like an hour and a half, I'm like, yo, I want to play some Dota. But then I'm like, yo, but if I lose this one, I'm not going to have time for a recovery game. And that's going to suck, because I'm going to have to go out and be social.
I guess. That's not like...
Anyway, I mean, that's not a reason to change it, but that's just like a thought process that I often have.
Yeah.
I lost a game. I need to play another one, so it's not going to be no fucking fun.
See, I have the opposite. Not recently, but I used to always play a warm-up game, so it's like, all right, I only have like an hour and a half, like you said. It's like, okay, I could get a game in, but it's going to be a warm-up game. And then, like, there's no point. So, because I don't like just playing games, like, I don't just turn Dota on and just, like, queue into a game. It's like, either I'm playing with a stack, which is one thing, or, like, I want to do something and, like, learn and, like, pay attention. So, I'm definitely not a fan of these, like, short games where it's like, okay, whatever, like, game's just over. Like, yeah, sure, that happens in previous patches, but it happens more now, it feels.
They're, I feel like they're not that much shorter, but just the fact that there's, like, no clear delineation between one phase of the game and the other. Like, everything is just so constant. That's not to say, like, whoa, everything moves so fast and it's great and everyone's doing shit all the time. It's so much more active. It's just like, there's no, like, breathing room in between the acts. Not acts, A-X-E, but A-C-T-S. Dota has an early game, like a laning phase, and then you have, like, fucking Act 2 of, like, the mid phase, and then Act 3 of, like, the mid-late, which is where most games end, and then there's, like, Act 4 of, like, the fucking, like, crazy, Legends of the Galactic Heroes space opera shit that goes on. But then, like, now it's just kind of like, I don't really ever feel a pause. It's just always like fucking go, go, go. Which again may just be a relic of the patch, of it being new, and it may be something that's a little bit more to stay. And I'd be okay with that either. I just, I kind of just want to know where we're at, you know?
Yeah, I feel that. So let's go back to a like. What's your next like?
All right, my next like, the new like can. We just played a couple liking games and I had a lot of fun. He's pretty stupid and I fully expect him to get nerfed. But the fact that like whenever, like not only when a fight's happening, like, oh, I'll give you a bunch of damage with Howl, but I just like press W and I heal my friends. Like how fucking dumb is that?
It's dumb. Can confirm. As a friend who has been healed, it is silly.
Yeah, there's like some time where like Flood was just like getting killed for no reason. I was like, oh, he hasn't said anything. Oh, let me just press W. And he's like, oh, I'm okay. Just walks away. It's fucking hilarious. At night, it's a 400 heal. My whole fucking team. Every 35 seconds.
Yeah, well, actually, that Lycan was on my dislikes page.
Yes, why don't you get that out of you?
Well, it's just that, like, the hero... So actually, I looked it up. He has risen 10.13% win rate in the last few days. He is very good. I don't, like, have a lot of gripes. Honestly, I just don't like Lycan overall. Like, he's just not... Like, he's one of my worst heroes. He's a hero, like, I fundamentally am not super enthused about. So him, like, now being really popular...
Yeah, of course. He's beefy, and he runs at people. You hate him.
Exactly. Like Dragon Knight and heroes like that, like, they're just not my cup of tea.
Yeah. Unless it's, like, this fucking, like, floaty nymph. Sam's just not into it. He only plays nymph-like heroes.
I wouldn't even say that. It's just, like, I don't...
You like nymphs, okay?
I don't like diving and stuff like that. It's not really like.
But if you do dive, you want to be able to blink out of it and disjoin 5 projectiles like a fucking nymph.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. That's it. Well, the only reason I disagree is that like when you say nymph
you're not
hero,
a puck player. Like,
exactly.
You're a puck player.
I don't play puck, and it's not because I don't want to. It's because I suck at him, and I haven't put in time to practice him. Honestly speaking. But yeah, that's that. Is it my turn?
I don't care.
Am I saying a like of mine? All right.
You can say a like.
I like the gold bounty changes. In that now when you're killing people that are like super far ahead, you get a lot of money. I like, and also like the illusion thing, which is kind of tied to this, but not really.
Yeah.
I like earlier I was on Legion. We played a Legion mid game, and I was super far ahead and I was doing really well, and I made a stupid, like, really greedy play and I died. And the enemy team at, like, whatever it was, like 25 minutes got 1,500 gold for killing me. And that's fair. But before, in the previous gold system, it would have been like, oh, they'd get like 900, which is still a lot. But I like that it feels more rewarding to kill somebody that's really high net worth and less rewarding, and it feels like there's more weight if you're dying and you are that high net worth person. And I like that, even if it does disadvantage me, like, sometimes. I think it's cool overall. I really like that so far.
Yeah. I thought you were saying you really like the bounty rune, like gold change. No. Disagree. But yeah, gold bounty is different from bounty gold rune. Bounty rune. Yeah, I like the illusion money too. Like, nothing feels better when you like kill a bunch of illusions. You get like plus 30 gold. You're like, all right. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah. That's really all I have to say on that one, honestly.
That's all I got to say about that.
So, dislike from you.
Okay. The new UI kind of sucks. I mostly just the fucking shop, dude. I hate the shop so fucking much. Like, what the fuck is worth this goddamn shop?
It's so tiny. That's my problem. Everything's so small.
I can't even select items. Like, where the fuck are my items? You're just not there.
Yeah.
You're just not. And I can't even go into demo mode on a hero and make my own fucking build. Like, if I'm new to this game and I like want to play something, like I literally have to use the Valve item build. And the only way not to is I could go to the hero and then I hit whatever fucking random icon, which I wouldn't think to hit if I was new to the game in the first place. And then it brings up this whole fucking shop and I can't even buy from there. I need to like drag it onto my fucking build or shift click it and then buy it from Quick Buy. Like, who the fuck designed that? It's fucking horrendous.
Yeah, I echo your statement.
The
One of
only way
my
to like change my fucking quick or my like build is to like go in a custom lobby with an individual fucking hero. Like, how fucking dumb is that? Builds don't fucking work anymore. It's dumb, dude. I'm pissed.
yeah. I mean, I played a lot of heroes that the build just didn't work already. When you change the in-game stuff, like Invoker, I changed that build probably 30 times, and it just never stuck. So yeah, I don't know. I don't like the new UI. That's actually my dislike that I'm going to go into. I the new HUD, like I appreciate it in some respects. Like there are certain things that are cool, and I think it has potential that it's going to be cool, like in a few updates. But
Yeah.
it's just small. It's small and it redirects my eyes in places that they're not like supposed to
Yeah.
be. Luckily they changed like all the kills and stuff over to the left of the screen, not where they had it on the right initially. But it's just small. Like Arteezy tweeted out that was really evocative to me. He just said like it shouldn't take me a full second to look at my health bar or to look at my XP bar. Like that's not a thing. Like it should just be very natural. Like I look like a quarter of a second. It's like, okay, the green bar is really big. But with the HUD right now, it's like it's all the way at the bottom. So I have to look from my lane, which is I'm gesturing right in front of me, like at the major part of my screen. Look all the way down and then go all the way back up. And like, yeah, sure, that seems super nominal to complain about, but it makes a difference and it makes it uncomfortable, like to do certain things or like look at item cooldowns and stuff. Like I missed so many Midas cooldowns because the Midas icon was just so tiny.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
I'm
sure
not a fan.
reminds me of like WoW interfaces. Like, you ever use did you know about X Pearl? Like way back in the day,
Yep.
the fucking worst. Yeah, it was like it like the little HUD in and of itself looked like objectively better, but like the bars are fucking tiny and all the information is like fucking hidden and small and but like, oh, it looks pretty. Now your unit frame is pretty, but like where the fuck my bars? What the fuck? Like,
Yeah, I
the
toyed around with
XP
X
bar,
too.
like if you look at the like where the talents are, like it is aesthetically pleasing, but that fucking bar is thin, dude. Like if I actually want to use this piece of shit, it's well designed from a fucking graphic design standpoint, but not from a functional standpoint. Fucking, like, I love that they moved the backpack to the right side of the items. Like, that was fucking smart. But, like, my fucking damage and my armor and shit all down there, like, if I want to mouse over that, my fucking camera pans down. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, jaw feel. So Bracket likes. Let's give us a like, Proud.
Alright. I'm so tilted right now. Dude, this shop is so fucking horrendous. I can't even begin.
So actually, before we go off back to likes, the thing with the shop that was a real problem to me was I now have to type in items, like to find them. For if it's like an unorthodox item that's not in like the preset on the hero, because it gives you like early game, mid game, late game, and then alternatives, and then like early game items on the bottom. I forget what item it was specifically, but it was like a situational item. I think I was playing AM and I wanted to build a Mjolnir, because that's really legit, and I'm going to talk about that later. But it wasn't on the thing, and so instead of like being able to just click like one tab and then find it like in the old shop, I had to either look through there like click a button and then go to change or go to like recipe based items, or and then do whatever, or I could have just typed Mjolnir. But if you type Mjolnir, there's no like hotkey, so like you still have to like move your mouse all the way down and click it, and then add it to your thing. And like, I just can't be bothered, dude. Like, I like big things. Like, I appreciate my shop to be large and easy to click on and easy to navigate. As much as like I'm a minimalist aesthetically, like I don't need my shop because it's not always there, right? It's only there when you pop it up, so it's not like obstructing anything. Because if a fight starts, I just close it, right? So I want it bigger.
This like the like common item thing that it shows makes no fucking sense. Like they have Gem, Blink Dagger, and Travels here, but Quelling Blade is just fucking nowhere to be found. Like what the fuck?
Yes, I think that's actually the problem I was having. It might have been Quelling Blade.
Yeah, it's like where the fuck? Like I need to go into search and then type like Q, like, and then fucking find. Then like I can't even right click it. No, I can't right click it from there. Thank God. Yeah, but fuck, if you just go to the shop and then you hit the little gear so that you can see shit, because like I was on Lone Druid, I want to buy Windlace, and then I go to fucking basic, and then I find the fucking Windlace, and I can't even buy it from there. I can't even fucking right click that. I gotta left click it, and then buy it. It's just a fucking disaster, dude. Anyway,
Yeah, go for it.
You just walk the fuck around. That's how you play Dota now. You just fucking walk around. I kind of like that. I kind of don't, but I like that I can say like, oh, what you do right now? Like, just fucking walk around. I don't know, dude. Figure it out. Just go somewhere. It'll be something.
Yeah, that's fair. I kind of don't like that, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't really either, honestly. I'm not sure why that's there.
Maybe it's because I'm not like a support player at the moment. But I kind of like rigidity in Dota. Like I like a reasonable amount. Yeah, I like. Well, I'm trying to think of. I wish I had written this down earlier because this is actually something I like to talk about like at length. But I like Dota, kind of like Last Patch. Last Patch is like a really good time in Dota because there is a like sense of rigidity. Like you know the general way things should be going, but there's a lot of little things you can do to change how you get to the events you're trying to start. So, you know, you could run different strategies or different timings or do different builds on heroes, but you knew like, all right, we're probably going to have a solo mid laner with roaming supports on each team aggressing upon the enemy mid laner, and you're probably going to have a safe laner that is going to be semi-self-sufficient. You're probably going to have an off laner that's going to die a lot in the Iron Talon jungle. Whereas right now, and yes, of course, this is in large part due to how new the patch is and how many changes the patch made at once. Things just happen, like you said. Like people are just going around, like they just don't know what's happening. They're like, I'll just wander to mid lane, or I'll just wander to safe lane, or wander like, oh, let's get a bounty rune, like whatever. So I don't know. I feel like that's 50% due to the patch and 50% due just to the fact that like the patch made so many changes all at once. So I don't know how legitimate of a gripe that is, and again, like it may settle down in a week, but it's something that I definitely agree with you. That I'm not fond of the whole like, just do whatever. Just wander around and things will happen. Like, no, you should be wandering with a purpose. So I guess it's my turn. Let's see. My next I already brought it up, so I guess I'll talk about it. I really like that Mjolnir and Maelstrom are no longer unique attack modifiers. Specifically, I'm sure this applies on more heroes, but specifically on AM, because I love playing AM. And Dendi actually got me thinking about it most first, because he was talking, I think it was on to Wagamama on Twitter, about an AM build that was like Power Treads, Aquila, Maelstrom, Manta Style, Abyssal Blade, Finish Mjolnir, Scotty, or like Butterfly Scotty, or something like that. And it's like no battle fear, it's all like just fighting, and you take advantage of the fact that like there's no more picking stats, so you're just forced to like actually be able to fight early and have that like 4-point mana break, 4-point blink, 1-point magic resist. And even though I didn't do that build in this game I was playing, I did end up building Mjolnir because now you can actually build it like efficiently on AM. And it was super fun. Like it was a good time, and it was really effective, and I could easily see like a build where you build your Battle Fury early, like standard stuff to accelerate farm. But then like in super late game, you have a Mjolnir as one of your 6 slots, and because you have the Mjolnir, you clear camps and lanes fast enough with that you don't need the Battle Fury anymore for that mechanic, and then you replace the Battle Fury with like a Scotty or a Butterfly or something, depending on what your other items are. So I really like that. I like Mjolnir as an item, and I like AM as a hero, and I like being able to build items I like on heroes I like, it turns out. So that's my next one. I don't know if you've like have had any ideas about Mjolnir no longer being a UAM.
I feel like I built Mjolnir on someone recently. I feel like everyone just is buying Maelstrom now because everyone is just like turning into a right clicker at 25 minutes already.
Yeah, I don't like that change. But that's also like that happened last patch too. Like that's just like last patch. I forget what caster was talking about it. I think it was Fogged maybe. They were talking about how it's just like you pick a carry mid and a carry safe lane, and one will get farmed and make space for the other one to get farmed. And like, as much as I love playing carries and like playing cores that scale as right clickers, I do like those kind of heroes that are like magic damage that scale. But those heroes just like are generally weaker. Like they just don't scale as well.
I just mean like even Puck now is a right clicker at 25 minutes, or maybe not a right clicker per se, but more that they can right click.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Maelstrom's good. I just There was like someone I just built it on that was like actually really fucking good. Oh, I think I put it. I built it on Lycan because you built AC. It was decent.
Oh yeah. I'm into it honestly. I think it's a really cool item, and like anybody that has a good attack speed, like you're gonna do a lot of damage with it. And like
Yeah,
it's easy to build. Like it's cheap in general. Like it's like what 2,700 gold or something.
2,800, I think.
Yeah.
I like it a lot for like Mjolnir in general, just for the idea that even if you're only right clicking like one certain thing or you're being controlled up a lot, the damage that you're doing is still like going to be hitting those squishier targets. So like when I was playing Lycan and I had Mjolnir shield. Okay, so first off, I don't think Mjolnir's good on Lycan. I just built a Hyperstone for an AC, and then Sam said, "All right, my AC is finished," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And so I was like, "All right, I guess I'll just get Mjolnir." And so I just put like Mjolnir on myself and like fucking an Earth Spirit used his ulti, and I had fucking like Lycan or not Lycan, Weaver bugs on me, and I was just kind of hitting who the fuck ever. And my damage was just chaining out to the rest of the team. So like even though maybe I wasn't on the correct target all the time, it really just filled out our damage because we didn't have a lot of AoE, but the Maelstrom kind of made up for that for the most part. I don't know. I just kind of like what Maelstrom and Mjolnir do for your team fight damage.
Yeah, I like that it is a right clicker item that counters armor too. That's like it's one of those simple things that like I just didn't think about until somebody spelled it out to me in like whatever was a pro game or just conversation. And that like it is an item that you can build on whatever right clicker you want. That is going to help you against a Sven or a Morphling that has just like a ton of armor because it does magic damage, and I really like that. And I just like to move away from UAMs in that like things are just more accessible. Like you can just do more builds. Also, Mjolnir active is like so underused that people don't like fully get it. So like people just still attack you. They're like, okay, I'll take a little extra damage, whatever. They don't realize that like it actually does a lot of damage. Or like putting it on a creep just to push a wave. Like there's a lot of cool things you could do with Mjolnir active. Okay. So was it my turn or your turn?
I don't know.
I was just talking about my one of my likes. So I think now we're up to your.
I was saying just fucking walk around, yeah, and then you talked about that thing. All right, so is it my time for a dislike?
Yeah, were you saying you liked it? Just yeah, okay. So it's your time for a dislike.
Okay. So I have written down here. I'm so small and scared.
Okay, that's fair.
Everything is big and scary, and I don't know what to do, and it's scary.
I feel you. Would you like to go more into depth?
There's a lot of boys that can kill me now. And I don't know if they can kill me. Like, fucking Magnus comes up, and I'm like, I'm fine. And then he has a fucking Bloodthorn, and I'm not fine. Why does he have a Bloodthorn? That's not a thing. But now it is, and I'm fucking scared. I, like, look at any hero, and I'm like, what can this person do? And then it turns out they have 250 damage.
Yeah. I think that is also partially a symptom of what we were just talking about, where like people just wander around and just things just happen now. It's like there's so much fighting, and it definitely is like things happen, and I'm like, I've played thousands of games of this. Like I literally run a podcast about it. Like I should know what's happening, but I don't. It's like I didn't realize that the CM suddenly has 80 more damage at level 10 or 50 more damage at level 10. Like that's not something that I'm aware of. And like, yeah, sure. That's something we have to acclimate ourselves to, but as far as like it's definitely something like in my immediate reaction to the patch, it's very jarring, like more so than a lot of other things. Yeah, a lot of people just have stuff, and I think that's something that's been happening over the last few patches, where they're making support items cheaper, and there's more gold on the map, and like bounty runes and jungle camp and all that. But now with supports having so many items, like yeah, sure, it makes supporting a little more alluring, and it makes it more fun. But people just have more stuff, so it changes how you have to react to things and how you can think about the game in like a mid-game sense or a late-game sense. So,
yeah, I agree. Everything's so weird. I mean, I like it. Don't get me wrong. I feel like a lot of this has been negative, but like I love this patch, man. This patch is so fucking cool. I just can't wait till I play it more and fucking know what the fuck is going on. But it's great. I mean, within our team games, the new strategy that we're trying that's been working well is just like I'm solo safe lane, no matter what, and we just like do some kind of aggro duel with like Visage Core or something dope like that, and then Sam like feeds mid or whatever.
Yeah,
and like it just fucking works. There's so many heroes that you can solo safe now. Like, I really like these gold per minute talents that people have. Like, sometimes they kind of suck, but like I really want to try DK. You just kind of make it till you're level 20, and then you get gold per minute to just fill out your farm or whatever. Because it kind of deals with the fact that there are a lot of heroes that just like they would be good. Like CK, like man, CK would be good, but he just can't fucking farm. And then at level 20, you get 120 gold per minute to fill yourself out. So, like, I don't know. I really like the talents in terms of ways to, like, balance heroes that otherwise, like, there'd be no way to kind of deal with them. Like, if you want to change a hero at a certain stage of the game, the only way you can really do it is give them, like, an Ags upgrade. But now that there's talents, like, you can actually do that shit. Like, it used to be, if you ever, like, buff something crazily, like, oh, I want this hero to have more regen, or I want this hero to, like, be tankier or whatever. Like, there's no way you could really do that for the mid-late game, because if you ever buffed one of their skills, they would just have it. They would just max it out at level 1 or at level 7 or whatever. But it gives us an ability to, like, tweak heroes the way we want to tweak them. That'll, like, come into effect for, like, mid-game or late game or that sort of thing. And I think that's gonna, like, make future hero balancing and designing a lot smoother and a lot more, like, purposeful. And it's gonna be a lot easier to actually, like, deal with the things that we want to deal with.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I definitely agree with you on that front. That it is interesting what it does balance wise, like for the talent system, where they can, instead of like saying like, oh, he has like 5 more movement speed, or oh, he has like 1 more strength per level. It is nice that they can kind of go in and be like, all right, this hero is fine during this phase of the game. Let's give them something at level 10 or at level 15 or 20 or 25. That's cool to me. I'm into it. All right, so my next dislike is going to be Monkey King. I know this is divisive because he's like a fun hero. Like, people just like him. Honestly, I don't play him, but like I understand. Like, he just looks like fun. But I think he's OP. And like we talked about this, I think on yesterday's show, everything just feels like too good on him. We can disagree or agree about specifics. But I think anybody can agree that like no hero at level 7 should have a plus 200 damage steroid that also heals them and applies to another one of their abilities that they don't even need to level up to do full damage. Like, it just, the hero just feels way too strong. And like, yeah, like I've beaten plenty of Monkey Kings over the last few days when they're playing from behind, but when they're not behind, like it is a gargantuan task. And like a decent number of his abilities just feel like better versions of other heroes' abilities, which also bothers me. Like his Q is basically a better fissure, or his first ability for those.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
But it's different, but it
doesn't block off terrain, which is a key aspect of fissure.
You're right, but it also like it does a lot of what fissure does, and it does it does a line stun.
It's not your best point. I'm going to be honest with you.
Whatever. Anyway. Sorry, I'm dying.
Coughing?
Yeah, just dying casually. Trying to mute my mic.
Easier to argue with you if you're coughing.
Yeah, my voice is super strained. His ult, it's like, okay, this is like, it's just so, everything is so good and it scales so well with his items. It scales with everything, and it's just such a problem. And like, yeah, of course, like I know all the counters to him theoretically, but they're just like, the counters only work so much, at least so far. And I think he's fine if they just tune his numbers down. Like, that's really my only problem is, like, Jingu Mastery is so good. Like, the stacks, especially in mid lane, which is now, like, people have been adjusting to the fact that, like, he is a mid laner. The Jingu Mastery stacks on opponents last for 30 seconds. So, basically, either you have to let him get his Jingu Mastery 4 stacks off, or you have to like let him get 3 and then go back to your to your tower, and then you miss like a full wave of XP or something. Or like if he gets the high ground advantage, if you mess up equilibrium, or if he just is really good at managing equilibrium, then like you just can't go anywhere because the guy has 300 range, decent movement speed, naturally builds like boots, many times phase boots. So I've seen some treads, and he can have a PMS and a quelling blade. Like it's just too much. Like the hero is just too strong in everything. Like the fact that he's melee just like accents everything even more. It's like, okay, he can build Echo Saber. He can, like I said, build Poor Man's Shield, build Quelling Blade, and like all that. Oh god, it's just terrible.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I'm still trying to figure out the exact correct items on him, but I feel like just going like raw tank and then like Deso and then BKB is really solid.
Yeah, I've seen mostly
Vanguard Echo. It's like be fucking tanky as shit.
Yeah, I've seen mostly like either Treads, Echo Saber, Desolator, or like Phase, Echo Saber, Vanguard. And then like they scale into like plus damage items. I've seen a bit of Silver Edge too, because it just accents this kit real well. And Echo Saber is like the most core item on him because it gives you 2 stacks of Jingu right off the bat and slows.
Yeah. And then by the time like you get the 4 Jingus, your Echo is going to be up again, so you can just do another double Jingu, and it's like fucking unreal.
Yeah, the hero feels super League of Legends too. Like for any of our listeners that have played League, in addition to Dota, the hero is very much like a League of Legends-esque hero in that like he has a bunch of unique mechanics and unique stuff that he does that other heroes just don't do. And he has this like passive, like that level 1. That's just like he just has the skill, and like the whole like multiple hits lead up to one big thing. That's like a very League mechanic. He's like a League aesthetic. Like the numbers above your head, I was like, man, I've seen this in a League like 10 times, over 10 heroes.
Yeah, I can agree. I definitely, I mean, pretty much most of the new heroes are all pretty. They have like some unifying like mechanic that's all based around, and that's like a fairly like League-esque kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I do kind of like the days where most heroes had these kind of like weird individual skills that weren't like completely tied together, but they did work together. But then you have Money King, who's just like fucking everything is based around this Jingu business.
Yeah, I also like one of the things I really like in hero design in Dota, especially like older hero design, is that I like tempoed abilities. Where I like heroes that it's like, okay, they have certain abilities that are really good in certain phases of the game and are bad in later phases of the game. So, like Ember Spirit, for instance, like his Flame Shield is amazing in the early game and it's super good and it's very like potent, and that is. And it's peaks and valleys as an ability, right? Because it's good in that phase. It's mediocre in the mid game once people start dishing out more damage. Then in the late game, it's pretty much irrelevant because it's just like, oh, it's just instantly gone. And I like that ability has peaks and valleys. And there are plenty of other examples, like especially with spellcaster heroes, like, you know, a Dragon Slave from Lina doing 300 some odd damage is really effective during the early game. But during the late game, it's like, okay, whatever. It's just a way to get Fiery Soul stacks and like clear a creep wave. Whereas, like, a hero like Monkey King, all his abilities are really good in all phases of the game. It's kind of like this has been a complaint with other heroes historically that have been really strong, like Leshrac back in whatever it was, like 6.84. Like, he was really strong because he did not have peaks and valleys. He was just always a really good hero. Same thing with, like, Omni OD. Like, certain heroes that don't have that, like, peak valley thing, it's just like, oh, he's just always good. And, like, that's it. So that's kind of one thing that like I like in certain heroes and dislike in the heroes that tend to be overpowered in patches, are the heroes that are just good always. So
I agree for the most part.
Okay, so I guess I'll get to my next like. I like the backpack. I dislike, like you said, the like way it's in the HUD, although it's better now. But I like the backpack conceptually. And it's funny because like during the patch like initial reactions, people always talking about like, oh man, what if like you're a 6-slotted core and you have like a pocket necro book and a pocket refresher and a pocket whatever. Well, the thing I really like about it is that it's more about like supports and mid laners and carries and cores that like have these small items that they bring with them, not about like bringing these huge late game items. So like the thing I use it for most is like I'm delaying boots of travel on certain heroes because I could just keep a TP in my backpack, then pull it out and TP somewhere in a few seconds. And there are detriments to that, obviously, but I like that you have a place for these like small items so that you don't have to make these hard decisions and stymie your growth to real items. And I do like just for a variety of reasons. Like you can build things more easily. You can do all these. It's just nice to have extra space. Honestly, it's like your own special courier that sits on your back at all times and just like keeps stuff for you. I like it a lot.
Backpack is probably my favorite thing in the patch. I mean, I love the way the game is now, but just the backpack is so fucking good, dude. Like that is such a good change.
Yep. So how about your next like? Or was it my turn? I don't know.
I don't know. I think it was my turn. I like the new laning configuration, honestly.
Okay.
Just like, it's way less tri-lane focused, dual lanes and roaming around. It's just so good now. If you listen to Proudland, which I'm sure everyone does because it's the best show ever. I talked earlier when I was talking about the difference between off lane and safe lane. One of the things that makes the safe lane and the off lane the off lane is how many things there are for your team to do on those lanes. Like how many people you need to fully kind of like fully man all of the nodes that there are for you to do shit at. Like there's for your safe lane, there's pulling, there's stacking, there's getting runes, there's zoning the offlaner, and then for the offlane, there's really just trying to get CS. And there's kind of you can pull, but there's and you can kind of get the rune, but you can't really do that if you don't have as many people, if they have more people there. And anyway, but now since there are these bounty runes and shit everywhere that you can just like roam to, there's enemy bounty runes that you can roam to before they get there. You can only stack at a certain minute, so there's not that huge an advantage of being near the jungle. But there's a lot of shit to do all around the map, and that's leading to having a lot more diverse laning configurations. So like the fact that I can walk into a game with my team and say, okay, we're gonna like do a solo safe lane and then like a dual off lane and a roaming support and have that be like normal and not some like weird cheesy strat that we only do once. I really like that a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it doesn't change that much for me as a mid laner, but I do like it strategically speaking. That kind of thing is much more free form and viable. All right, let's see. My last dislike is my strongest dislike. I saved the best for last. I think everybody knows it that's followed me on Twitter or during anything else. There were no Lina buffs. I was looking at it earlier. I was trying to do research on how people were playing this. I'm tapping a pen on my desk. Hopefully that does not carry over the audio. I was looking and I was doing research on how people were playing it, and the whole time I was just distracted by the huge red number on the top of the screen that said win rate 43.9%. It's like, come on, like how does a hero have a 43.9% win rate and not get buffed and not even get good talents? Like it's tilting to no end that she is so criminally she's just criminally untouched. Like it's awful. Honestly, I hate it so much. It's not even like they buffed her into a support role. It's like they gave her literally nothing, and they gave other heroes great things, and it's just like it bothers me so much. And I hope whatever in 7.1 she'll get buffed a lot. Cool, but God, it's just I hate it so much. Honestly, it's like a slap in the face. Like I was looking forward to buff her so much because of these exact reasons. Like her win rate is in the low 40%. She's awful. She has so many problems, and then they just don't buff her. Like it boggles the mind, honestly.
I'm sorry for your girl.
Yeah, me too, honestly, because ugh. So your last dislike or your next dislike. One of mine got co-opted, so I'm gonna end my list for sure.
I'm sick. Oh wait, no, that's a different one. Techies exists. I don't like that he exists again.
Really? I almost put that on my likes list because they reworked him so he's less annoying and more of an actual hero, although still very annoying and still not a real hero.
I still got killed by I got my entire team killed by a sign, and then we stood on it and then we all died. So fuck that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Minefield sign is in the game. That's enough for me to hate that hero.
Yeah, oh man, I still hate the hero, but I appreciate that, like, they found a way to rework him to be, like, a little more of a real hero and less of a just, like, oh, I'm going to tilt the enemy team.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm going to try to work my way through my last like before I collapse and die. Dota's new again, honestly. Like, I know we've been doing a fair bit of complaining, a fair bit of what's the opposite of complaining? Of rejoicing.
Sure, whatever, I don't care.
But even if I don't like the specifics, I like that Dota is new again. I like that there's stuff to talk about. There's new things to theorize. The map is different. Things are surprising. Like, it may bother me in the moment. I'm like, oh my god, I didn't, like, how did he juke me? How did he do X, Y, and Z? But overall, I just like that Dota is, like, refreshing. And I like that we enjoy and play a game that can do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's it.
I agree. That's good. Alright, I have another like, and it's just that everything can kind of scale now. I think that's good.
Yeah, that's fair.
Alright. I played a Lone Druid game.
Okay.
And I went Lonely Druid. And it was pretty good. It was pretty mediocre until I got the plus 65 damage at level 15. But then I did that, and then I got minus 50-second respawn time, and it was fucking unreal. It was really fucking good.
I look forward to seeing it in our games, because it does sound pretty sick.
Just killed everyone. I got Helm of the Dominator, because it gave me stats and health regen, it gave my bear regen, and it gave me my bear attack speed, and then I just got like a Deso, and then an AC, so my bear had like pretty okay attack speed. He was getting in tangles and shit. We both had phase boots, so we didn't trip over each other at all, and I just had like 550 move speed every time I popped my phase boots, and it was fucking incredible. And yeah, that's it's been pretty fucking fun.
That's fair. Do you have anything left on your list? I know mine's already done. Do you have a dislike left over?
I'm sick.
Okay, I absolutely 100,000% feel you in that one. It's like,
yeah.
Okay, so lastly, I had one that I was on the fence about, which was the talent system, and I'm coming around on it. Initially, I was very far in the dislike, but now I'm very on the fence because some heroes I've been playing it and like the talent system feels awesome, and I'm like, oh man, I had this weakness and now it's compensated for. Like, oh, this is dynamic and interesting. Then other heroes, like the choices are just either super obvious. It's like, okay, like, do I want 15 health or do I want like 1,000 damage? It's like, okay, well, I'm gonna take the B. Take door B, please.
Take door B.
Yeah. Like I ran out of water, so we really gotta.
Okay. I feel you. Some talents, see, like, I mean, I don't like it. I just don't skill my level 10 talent. Like, it's just shit. I mean, I do at 14, but, and I kind of like that, you know, like, you can decide whether or not your skills are better than your talents. But there are definitely some heroes where I'm like, you know, like, all Lone Druid talents, maybe not all, but like, you know, I'm really fucking excited to get, plus 200 range, 65 damage, 50-second respawn time, and then 25 I'm not too wild about, but like, minus 10 seconds on fucking Roar, like, those are all super cool. And then, I don't know, like, I look at Tiny, and it's like, 10 int or 6 strength. I'm like, I don't fucking care, dude. Go home.
Yeah, I look at Lena's and I'm like, oh boy, do I want one extra charge of Fiery Soul or do I want minus 4 seconds on Dragon Slave? It's like, okay, cool. So the only benefit to having minus 4 seconds on Dragon Slave is that you can have more Fiery Soul stacks, but it's capped at 3, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And you can't get 4 Fiery Soul stacks and maintain them easily because you can't use Dragon Slave constantly. It's like, oh, cool. I have to Laguna to have Fiery Soul to Siege. Yeah. Good stuff.
The Slark ones are like outside of 10% lifesteal, which sucks. Are just like, do you want damage? No, okay. Do you want strength or agi? Do you want attack speed or health?
Yeah.
Do you want stats or like fucking plus 3 pounce leash? Like, they're all just like, oh, what stat do you want? I'm like, fucking give me something cool, idiot.
Yeah. It feels like certain heroes, like the opportunity for interesting stuff is squandered. And then that's really my only issue. So, like, yeah, I think I like the system, but I think some of the specifics I'm not into.
And you have to remember also, like, I mean, that's the criticism for the moment, but they added what is like 114, 113 talents or talent trees to heroes all at once. Yeah. So obviously some of them are going to be good. Some of them are going to get retooled later. So, I foresee a lot of them being a lot more hero specific. But in the future, Like, I see people tweeting out, like, oh man, I wish these talents, like, actually affected the hero's skills or were a lot more, like, inline, customized to the hero. And I feel like we're going to get a lot more of those later. But for now, when they're all fucking brand new, they didn't want to do anything, like, too crazy. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see, Slark changing his level 10 from, like, plus 15 damage to after you pounce, you gain 15 damage. Or, after you pounce, you gain 20 damage or something like that at his level 10 or whatever. So,
yeah.
Look, I'm looking forward to what they're going to do with the talent trees after they've been, like, implemented and how they're going to, like, refine them. But for now, I can see how you could be on the fence. For some of the heroes, they seem kind of weird and bad and not exciting. And for other heroes, they're awesome.
Yeah. It's just, like, this will be my last comment on the topic, but I like certain heroes' trees and I dislike other heroes' trees, and I feel like it should all be uniform, where it's like either they're boring, that are just like stat things to replace the ability to level stats up, or they should be dynamic and interesting and like very fundamentally changing. So we'll see. Whatever. I do kind of like that for most heroes, it's like, okay, 10, 15, 20 are like pretty simple, like, plus whatever, minus what, or like minus respawn time. And then the 25 is like that big highlight. But, we'll see. Who knows? Maybe they're going to do super interesting things with all of them. So I'm going to hop into the plugs and close this show out before I die and lose my voice completely. You can follow us on Twitter. The show is at @p_show. I'm at Ursinity, Proud is at Proud Dota. You can follow us on Twitch. The in-houses will be starting up, I believe, in January after the holidays. But in the interim, Growdy, he did it tonight, actually, as we're recording. They're doing some like fun game modes like random draft and reverse captain's mode and all that in the new patch. So look out for those on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/.ptv. Our YouTube channel is .ptv1. It's where you can find all our stuff, our shows, our replay reviews, our patch note analysis, and anything and everything. The website, defenseofpatience.com, you can find us there. Find all the shows there. You can find our Amazon banner if you'd like to support us. Just click through that. Buy your Christmas gifts, Hanukkah gifts, Kwanzaa gifts, what have you. Unless you're a Jehovah's Witness, I guess don't buy any gifts, right? That's a good place to go to. Email us, defenseofpatience@gmail.com. Send in questions for the Tuesday show. Send in whatever, comments, criticisms, concerns, love letters, whatever. You're an adult, or maybe you're not, but either way, you could send us stuff. Patreon.com/defenseofpatience is where you can go to support us monetarily. We would very much appreciate it. You can get commissioned podcast episodes. You can get replay reviews with any of us. That's a good time. Proud is also in the business of doing some coaching, so you can email us, defenseofpatience@gmail.com, to get the info on that if you like some specific coaching. But replay reviews are effective coaching, honestly. Reddit.com/r/defenseofpatience is our subreddit. And last but not least, if you'd like to support us, iTunes reviews are a great help. So we would appreciate that. It increases the visibility of the show. We had a great day Monday, honestly. The patch notes did very well. We were very happy with that. So thanks for listening, especially if you're a newcomer. And I promise we're less nasally and dying on the regular weeks. We just have very bad timing for our sicknesses. So on that note, we're going to close it out. Hope everybody's enjoying 7.0. But, if you're not, whatever. It's unfortunate. It's a new patch, and you'll adapt to it. So goodbye.